Hey everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. All right, you came for a drive through the mountains, or I hope you did, because that's what we're doing today. We went down to Great Sand Dunes National Park, and then on our way back up to Breckenridge, we took a little bit of a detour. So this is called the Silver Thread Scenic Byway. So this is just a 2-lane highway for most of it that goes through the mountains up north, and then you end up going by a reservoir and all types of things. So this started out, I will tell you, as a really fun drive, really pretty. You can see the window going up there. Beautiful. And again, we're from Nebraska. We're from eastern Nebraska. So it's a really, really flat landscape where we're from. So this is still, even though at this point we had been in Breckenridge for about 3 weeks, this is still pretty remarkable to see, just going for a drive, because we'll go for a drive at home, but just going for a drive to see this along the way. So all different kinds of mountain formations. In a bit you'll see, because it was at this point kind of mid to late September, we've got some leaves changing and that type of thing as well. Here's a word of caution. Very few gas stations. We were well prepared. We didn't have a problem with that, but just kind of know that going into it. So sorry, it is kind of bumpy. Also, not a lot of places to stop for food and that type of thing. So just kind of know that going into it. And if you're from a place like we are from, where the number of miles tends to equal the number of minutes, just remember that's not the case here. It could be 10 miles, but you're going 30 miles an hour for part of it, and you're doing back and forth curves and all of that type of thing. So just kind of always keeping that in the back of your mind and kind of making plans for how long it's actually going to take to get from one place to another. Now, if you haven't seen the Great Sand Dunes National Park video, you can go back and watch that. Oh, there's some pretty leaves changing. We do have that in Nebraska. Oh my gosh, look at that. See, just beautiful. Yes, you can go back and watch that. Again, this is pretty close to it, but this is a pretty long drive through this highway. Of course, at many points you can turn around and, you don't have to do the whole thing. If you have time and you want to, you can. We were joking with Reese at this point, like, oh, we're going to run into a mountain. He was not amused. I think he was game for maybe a 6-hour day of like driving down to the dunes, exploring and coming back. This ended up being a 13-hour day. We did spend about 3 hours at the dunes, but the drive time from Breckenridge down there and then going back up. Also, obviously, cellular service is not great in this area. We have an atlas. We have a paper atlas, which I really liked having. I just kind of had that on my lap the whole time and kind of tracking where we were. I was also trying to keep track of the volleyball score for Nebraska and was frustrated at times that I couldn't just see what an updated score was. But yes, at this point we were kind of starting to like it because we were getting some sun protection. It could just be brutal. Oh, and these motorcyclists just coming around us. And they had signs, motorcyclists use extreme caution. I hadn't seen a sign like that before, but they had signs like that. There was also a sign at one point advertising meat treats. That's right. You can get your meat treats there. I mean, I'm assuming that means like jerky and stuff, but it was just kind of a funny way. Like, oh, did you need any meat treats? No? Didn't need any? Okay, we'll just keep on going then. So yeah, this is all taken from my point of view up front. This is out the side window. There seems to be something going on with some of the trees. By some, I mean like half of the trees. I don't know. Do you guys know? Was there some kind of like disease or beetle that kind of ran rapid? A lot of tree footage here. Just a lot of them seem to be dead. You could see some go by the window there. And if we shift back to the front, to the windshield, you did see a lot of dead bugs. That was just not just how it was. Another thing I noticed, okay, and I could just look this up, but I'll just ask you guys. There's a ton of like mobile homes in this area of Colorado, like especially driving from Breckenridge down to the dunes and then back up north. Tons of mobile homes. Do they not have tornadoes? Do they not have bad storms like that? Oh, that would just worry me so much. Yes, we have mobile homes in Nebraska, but it always worries me. And if you can see the reflection there on the windshield, that's my bag of candy corn. I am a candy corn fan. Leave a comment below. Do you like candy corn? Are you one of those people that turns up your nose at candy corn? I love it. I mean, obviously candy corn with some peanuts and raisins. That's the best combo, but we have to take what we can get. And that was literally the provisions that we had in the car to get us through this drive was a bag of candy corn. So I took what I could get. Now, again, we are headed from the south end of this highway up to the north end. And so you can see the landscape is changing. We don't have those tall, pretty trees anymore. It's a lot flatter. And we kind of kept joking. My dad is actually from western Nebraska and they have sand hills. And that was kind of reminiscent of that. The sand hills don't tend to be this big necessarily, but this kind of dry brush, kind of small bushes kind of landscape. This is reminiscent if you've been to Nebraska. Again, I would recommend if you go to Nebraska, it's like 2 states. The eastern half is very different than the western half in culture, in weather, climate, soil, vegetation, all of those types of things. We did this drive on a Saturday afternoon. It wasn't very busy. We did see some motorcyclists, and at times, because it's a 2-lane road, there would be some kind of backup. But yeah, it was a nice drive to do, as long as you kind of go into it knowing what to expect and knowing how long it is going to take you. So again, this was very reminiscent of eastern Nebraska, of western Nebraska. And at this point, we're realizing like, oh, these miles are, they're taking their sweet time. But I hope you enjoyed the drive. We did, and we made it home safe and sound. Bye.